Welcome to this first amazing live development vlog for Akira, the Linux design tool. Well, I'm gonna stop with the stupid voice because I cannot keep it up, otherwise my throat is gonna kill me. But welcome everyone to this amazing first experience, the first development vlog live of Akira, where we're gonna see the current status of the code, what we are with the applications, all the things that they work, all the things that don't work, and what we're doing, and next steps, and what's gonna happen. So we already have a bunch of people watching, and it's great. I'm sorry for the odd time. I know a lot of you are in Europe, or it's really late right now for you, but this was the only time available I had, so I really apologize. Let me know if you guys can hear me, if it's totally okay with the audio, if it's too loud, it's not loud enough. Okay, No Beer says it's 5 in the morning. What hell are you doing up at this time? This is okay. Well, welcome everybody. You guys let me know if the audio is too much. Actually, again, lower it, or you can hear me, you can't, all the usual shenanigans. Donovan, good with 5 p.m. Oh, great, that's good. You're in central time. Okay, so the usual structure. I'm seeing in my monitor that the audio is going super on red. I don't know if it's too loud or it's like you can hear me. Just guys, let me know how's the audio quality, because I don't want to destroy your ears. Of course, I don't want to crush your brain with my loud voice. But yeah, so let's get started. First of all, let me remove this image. So bam, you can see me. Hey, hello everyone. This is so exciting. This is like the hopefully is not gonna be just one. And Alberto Fanjul is in the chat if you guys wanna do anything with him, if you wanna give him a big hug, or you wanna give him a high five, or send him candies, or just give him a lot of love, because he is basically the guy that is making Akira available to everyone. It's just like he's coding so much and working on the canvas. Without him, we wouldn't have a canvas. So it's pretty incredible. So he should get all the credit for all these things. So as usual, well, if you don't know, if this is the first time that you're watching a live streaming, what I usually do at the beginning, I start and I go through all the things that I want to show you. So I don't waste time. I just show you everything, the code, what the application does, what it doesn't, where it doesn't work, and blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to probably go on for 15-20 minutes, just that there's not really much to show, unfortunately. But there's a lot. There's a lot of little small things that are really exciting. And then after that, I'm going to the chat. I'm going to try to read all your previous messages. And I'm going to start answering questions. So we're going to have a Q&A section if you want to see something more thorough, or if you have some questions for me or for Alberto, we can answer. So yeah, this is Visual Studio Code. It's pretty incredible having like the sort of like Microsoft-y logo on an open source project. But yeah, I guess it's happening. But yeah, let's get started. So Akira, let's compile what we have on master. So we are on master right now, and we're gonna go and build. Oops. And then we're gonna ninja this thing, and we're gonna trigger Akira, and there you go. So this is the current. Let me shrink it down because my screen is too big. And I'm gonna also hide my webcam for now, so you can see everything, this beautiful application. This is the current status of Akira. What we have right now, we have a lot of things that are working related to the UI, and a lot of polish have been going on interaction and user experience and all these kind of things. We have a barely working canvas that you can play and interact with. The major thing that doesn't work right now is like you cannot save a file. So everything that you do on the canvas, it's just as soon as you close it is lost because the canvas is not completely done. So it's kind of useless allowing you to save a file if then we change how the canvas behaves and is not compatible with a file that you saved. So yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But yeah, so a little bit of overview of the current UI. So the first time that you actually open the UI, you will probably see something like this. This is the actual UI that you see. So all the buttons in the header bar, they have the label. And I understand that a lot of you don't like this, and a lot of you can say that it kind of like looks weird. It looks odd, especially the text. It's kind of odd, but it's the first time that you open a new application. And as a new user, trying to understand, trying to decode what these little things do, like what's this icon means, what this icon means, or like some more obscure one like this one. Yeah, you can kind of guess, but you cannot be 100% sure what does it mean. So it's important. Yes, you have the discoverability, as you saw, of the tooltip, that if you go on rollover, it stays like for after 2 seconds, you have those tooltips that appears, but it's not good enough. I mean, who wants to, as soon as you open a software, spend 20 minutes in going rollover? Oh, okay, this is a group. Oh, this is a group. Oh, this is up. Oh, this is down. Like, who wants to do that? How many times did you do that in GIMP or Inkscape? Like, what does this button do when you go on rollover, you wait for the tooltip? You don't want to do that. So this is the first time that you open the application, you have all the labels. So it gives you like, it helps you understand better what all these buttons do. Once you get comfortable with the interface and you recognize all the buttons, you can hide the labels and then you have just buttons and it looks fantastic. The other thing that you can do in the options panel, that by the way, I'm opening, you can click on here to open the settings, but also the control plus comma, it opens the settings, so it's a little accelerator. If you click here, you change the interface, you can switch to dark mode, which is so good. I really like how this looks in dark mode. All these icons are so on point. It's so great. I love like when you go on a focus and you start typing in input fields, like the little effect is just phenomenal. But then the other amazing cool thing that you can do, you can switch to symbolic icons, because if you and this is like, I fixed this in another branch, but whatever, also these, they turn symbolic. But symbolic icons, they're great, but they can also be terrible, because if you, for example, we take GIMP as an example, and let me reveal my face again so you can see me. If we take GIMP as an example, GIMP has mostly, the first time you open, is just symbolic icons, especially the new interface is just symbolics, white icons on a dark interface. That's really clean in a matter that all the icons, because we don't have any color, they don't interfere with your canvas. So it doesn't matter how colorful is your design, you're not gonna get affected by other colors around you. Everything is flat, everything is black and white and dark and monochromatic, so it's perfect. But it can also be terrible, because the symbolic version of these icons, are way harder to understand and way harder to decode the first time you see them. Instead of like a more colorful icon that uses different shapes and uses different colors and maybe simulates the perspectives using the shadows to give you a little bit of depth, those type of icons are more understandable in general. The symbolic icons are not. So symbolic, it's sort of like, it's an option that we want to give out of the bat, like baked into Akira, when you feel more comfortable with the application and you want your interface to be minimal and clean and out of the way, because you most likely you will not click on this button at all, because you will use accelerator and shortcut keyboards and all this kind of good stuff. So that's completely out of the way, and you can clean your interface. That also symbolics in dark mode are so good. Look at this interface. So imagine seeing this interface the first time that you open it. It's really confusing, like what are all these lines and small things that you don't understand, but these gets more and more comfortable the more you use it, so you have the option to change this interface. Let's go back to, this is actually, like, personally I like a light theme for my UI with non-symbolic icons. I really like this, like these little touch of colors are really, really intriguing. A little bit of UI that it's working. So here, of course, you can change, you can type your whatever values that you want. Here, these two are binded. So if you change the width and height of an element and you type 10, also the other height, it changes to 10. If you unlock it, you just don't keep the ratio, so you can grow these and this one doesn't work, whatever. The rotation, it's pretty standard here. A lot of these icons, they have already accelerators built into it, and before the release, of course, we're gonna have a full page, like a screen that you can open that is gonna list all these obscure accelerators. For now, for the first release, we're not gonna allow updating accelerators and changing the shortcut keyboards, but in the future, the keyboard shortcut, actually. In the future, we're going to allow users to update keyboard shortcut. And then we have the fill options here that Alberto is connecting to the actual shapes. We're going to see later how it works. But this is something that one of you guys, Giacomo, a great Italian guy that is helping us a lot in coding, this is a PR that he made and created this little widget that it opens the color, it changes the color, and when you update the color, it changes also the preview here. You can change the opacity. The opacity is not reflected here, but I'm updating this actual widget. So in the next PR, I'm gonna have also the opacity working. We got some blending modes that can be open, and you can control the opacity with the slider, but also the opacity, of course, if you change it here, will reflect the actual amount of the opacity there. You can create as many colors as you want. You can hide some colors, can delete them. The fact of adding many colors, it's a thing that is not standard in Linux applications. So GIMP, Inkscape, we don't have that, but in professional applications, it's actually pretty standard. You want to blend different colors. Maybe you have a gradient and then on top you want to put a flat color to create something particular. Or maybe you have one color and then on top you want to put a texture or a picture at 50% of opacity. So all the filling options, you can have as many filling options as you want, are all related and attached to your shape. You are not bounded to one shape, one color. That's not how it works. You don't have to, if you want to create something crazy, you don't have to create another shape. You can do everything with the filling options in your same shape. Let's take a look, or something else of the UI. Oh yeah, well, all your panels are resizable, and when you change the size of your panel and then you shut down the application and you launch it again, let's see, it remembers the sizing of your panel, like pretty standard. It doesn't reset the UI, it remembers your settings, even if you have these crazy sizing as you wish. But another thing with the control period, or the control dot, you can completely hide the UI. This is called presentation mode, which is amazing. And when you're doing a lot of design and you want everything out of the way, just like control period, and you just have your canvas that, of course, now it's blank, just nothing. But yeah, that's the thing. Let's see a little bit of amazing things that Alberto created for these beautiful, beautiful Akira application. So here we can add a text. We can add a couple of shapes, and the canvas is actually interactive. You can play with it. So if you want to just download the code, compile it, and play. Let's start with a shape, easy rectangle. So right now, when you click on rectangle or you click on another shape like the ellipse or the circle, it adds the shape directly in the canvas. That's just temporary because we need to test this and we're working on this. But in the future, of course, it's gonna work like every vector software. When you select a shape, your cursor is gonna change to a cross, and then you click and drag and you're gonna generate the shape by click and dragging on the canvas. Right now it just pops the shape that you selected with a pre-selected series of options like border radius and the background color and the border color. We just did it because we need to test this, so we wanted some predefined shapes and the quickest way to generate them. So don't worry, it's gonna work and look decent. But here we spent a lot of time, and as we should say Alberto spent a lot of time in making this work. So this is amazing already. The over effect is one of the best thing ever, because how hard is when you have multiple shapes one on top of the other, which one are you gonna click? Like you click this or you click in this little spot. What it's going to select? It's going to select the actual circle, it's going to select the rectangle, the square. What's going to happen? So with this little preview or like ghost hover effect, you actually know what shape you're going to select. And if you can see here, I don't know if it's noticeable, but here the hover, it's always on top. It's always above everything else. So it doesn't matter how many shapes you have on top of your shape. If you hover on a selectable area, the over effect is going above all the other shapes. So you actually know what it's selecting and you don't get confused by having many shapes on top of another, because this ghost hover effect, this rectangle, is going to tell you which shape are you actually selecting. So if you select one, then you have this super cool effect that it's amazing. So first of all, you can resize it and it works. And sorry if I'm giving you like dizziness and you're just like throwing up with this screen zoom. But when you select, of course, you have this bounding box that controls all your coordinates. They can resize, and it works pretty standard. It doesn't matter. Like it's pretty normal. But one of the amazing things, and one of the things that was really complicated, and Alberto figured it out all by himself because he's a genius, is the rotation and keeping the bounding box rotated. Because right now, if you select this little circle knob on top and you rotate, now you have your little rotation and you can rotate it as much as you want. It's like pretty standard. Other applications, what they used to do after you rotate, if you deselect your object and you select it again, usually what you have is the square rotated back on like a standard square, like not actually rotated, not following your shape. Because it's easier, actually. That's what we were doing before. You select a shape and it recognizes the width and the height of the shape and it draws the bounding box. But we needed to update the selection box to rotate and respect the current state of the shape to be as accurate as possible. Like before, it wasn't existing, like something like that, it didn't exist. But right now it exists. So it doesn't matter the rotation, the weird size of your shape. If you change it, if you flip it, the hover effect and the bounding box will always remember your settings, and you're not gonna get confused of like, did I rotate this? How can I revert this back to how it was rotated before? It's always like that. And also you notice that if you add a shape here, it adds also the layer, the respective layer here. You can see here a little bit of bugs for the text tool. The text tool, it's a whole other beast. That it's a thing that it's pretty terrible. Like GTK doesn't have a rich text by default. Like you cannot write in a single text box italic, bold, different line height, different indentations. Everything has to be the same. So we need to build a custom text widget all by itself. So yeah, it's a real pain, but you can see that when you create a new shape, the shape is attached to the layer panel. We're currently working on hooking up the shapes to the layer panel, that if you select one, it selects the layer in the layer panel. If you select the layer in the layer panel, it selects actually the shape corresponding to it. But the layer panel works as expected. You can rename whatever you want. You can rename the shape names, and you can whatever. We are hooking up also the ability to lock the layer. So when it's locked, you cannot move it, or hide the layer, which, as you can see, it works. When you hide the layer, it's hidden. this is all Alberto. Like, I didn't even realize that this was already in the branch. This is amazing. It's beautiful. So thank you, Alberto. You're amazing. Okay, there's an interesting questions. Like in the chat, JJ asks, what happens if you put the smaller shape completely over the larger one, then select the larger one? Does the smaller shape get lost? And how do you select it? So, like you have a larger shape like this one, and you have a smaller shape like this small. You have it here. It's here. But I'm gonna show you how to solve this. Like for example, if these shape, like for example, let's change this narrative. So this is actually the big one, right? This is the big one, and this is the super small one, and we put it underneath. Of course, you don't see it. That's pretty normal. You don't see it. But in the next, in a little bit, I'm gonna show you what Alberto wrote in the chat. The fact that you can control the Z index, because right now the shape, the order of the objects in the layer panel doesn't match the actual order of the index of the objects in the canvas. But in this situation, the circle is above the rectangle. In the next PR, in the next merging request that we're going to have, and we're going to merge to master, you will be able to drag a layer and move it underneath. And if the shape is underneath, it goes on top. If the shape is on top, it goes behind, like underneath, and the canvas updates. So you can put a shape on top, and then we're gonna hook the same method of drag and dropping and putting one above, one below to these little buttons here, like move up, move down, bring to the top, bring to the bottom. So you will never lose a shape. That's the kind of like the importance of the layer panel, something that by default GIMP doesn't have it. If you do a lot of like pixel things in the same layers, everything is the same layers, and also Inkscape doesn't have. The fact that every time you create a shape, all the shapes are separated on their own layers. So it doesn't matter how on top of each other they are, you can always, if you lose them, you can select it in your layer, drag them and bring them on top, and you can select them again. So it's pretty standard. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, look at that. This is pretty hot. I think that's pretty much it for the canvas. Let's see a couple of extra things we're working on GitHub. So if you access our GitHub repository, it's really up and coming. We have a lot of commits day by day, but there are all these WIP work in progress pull requests by Alberto, and there's a work in progress from Bilal that it's working on the style panel to control the opacity of the shape itself. It's going to be fantastic. But there are a couple of amazing things. So first, this example that Alberto was talking about, connecting the Z index. And here you have a little example. You can see how the rectangle, it's above the circle and you don't see the circle. But then if you drag and drop the layer and you put the circle above, you can see it. Now it's inverted. Like now the circle, it's below in the layers, but it should be inverted. Like it goes on top, like the order, like the layers that are on top are visible, the layers that are below are not visible, and etc, etc. But this is a work in progress that he's doing, and then he's implementing the lock button. So when you lock it, you cannot move, you cannot select a shape, you cannot move it, it's locked it there, and it works as expected. And then we're gonna probably doing a separate PR to group and ungroup items, because that's slightly more complicated. Even if the layer panels already have the functionalities of grouping and it creates a little folders that you can open and close and expand, it's a little bit complicated, so we're gonna see it later. Another work in progress that I'm so happy about it, and it makes me so proud. Alberto, you're a beast. It's connecting the canvas to the actual option panel for the shapes, like for the filling color. So you can see here it's changing the opacity of the filling, and it's opening the colors, and it's changing the colors, and the type of selected colors gets respected by the canvas. It's beautiful. That's amazing, and you have a real time update, of course, because why not? And these are all the things that should be implemented in this PR. So modifying the RGB, show only the fields box if the selected object, support multiple fields box like we were doing before, and bind the blending mode. So it's gonna be really interesting. Of course, if you guys wanna, if you have free time, if you want to help, just jump into this PR, check the code, and try to elaborate it. And another PR that it's work in progress is the binding the transform panel, which is coming along pretty nicely. So now every time you select an object, all these object properties of position, rotation, sizing, and opacity, and blah, blah, they're all here. And you can see it updates in real time. And you're gonna have this double bounded property when you actually update the canvas. It updates the values in the transformation panel. If we update the values in the transformation panel, it's gonna update the canvas, and vice versa. So it's pretty fantastic. I'm so excited about this. I guess that's it. There are other PRs, like minor PR, like Bilal is taking care of adding the style panel here to have like to control the border radius of shape. You can increase or decrease the border radius, and then you can decide if you want auto scale the corner. So if you increase the size, the border keeps the ratio and grows with the size of your shape, or otherwise you uncheck that and you lock it. It's always 2 pixel border radius. It doesn't matter how big is your shape. And you can have uniform corners, or having like one corner at 2 pixel, another corner at 10 pixel, another corner at 0, and so on, like complete freedom. But we're implementing this. And of course, you can check in the Akira issue page all the things that we want to do. One thing that I'm gonna be working next is the how input field should behave. And I did a new mockup because I think I'm gonna improve. I think this new mockup is gonna improve a lot the functionality of the input field. So the input fields, basically, they can have prefix or suffix. So they can have like percentage, or the px is a suffix, and these cannot be written by the user. If the user writes or tries to write something other than numbers and dot to separate the decimals, it shouldn't happen. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare to try to make it work. So all the suffix and all the, like, is a pixel, is percentage, is emphasis, is whatever, is relative numbers, all those things are gonna be unselectable and unchangeable suffix. You can just write text. And if you go on rollover on a field, automatically these little arrows will appear. So if you need to increase by 1 or 2, you don't have to select and type 44 and type 45. Or you don't have to select and add 1 or add -1. You can just go there and click, so you don't have to remove your hand from the mouse. But then, if you're just visually experimenting and you want to increase or decrease the size a lot, you can go on rollover on the actual label of that field, and this little, like, the mouse is going to change to this range type of cursor. And if you click and drag, like it happens in Blender, I think it happens also in Inkscape, you can increase a lot and decrease a lot, like you 1,000, again, -1,000, all this kind of stuff. So, that's pretty much it. I think we're almost there. So if you guys want, we can chat about whatever questions you have. It's been like a little over 20 minutes. We're almost at 29 minutes of live streaming. Oh, I didn't know it was going to be this long to give you an overview. But yeah, this is the current status of Akira. So we are polishing the canvas in order to make it usable and in order to allowing you to actually create shapes and change the colors, change the borders. So having the basic functionalities connected to a basic layer panel. As soon as we knock that down, the canvas section, we're gonna focus on wiring the canvas to the save file. So we're gonna implement the saving file, and saving the file. In the file, we're gonna try to save all the options of your panels. If you change the size of your panel, if you change the interface, we will try to give you probably not in the first version, but we will try to give you the ability to save actually those options in the file itself. So you have per file customization of your Akira interface or something like that. I don't know. But then after that, after we make the file savable, we can release the first version. So there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of work. Probably in the first version, all these buttons were going to be disabled, or we're going to remove them so you don't get confused and try to click them. But we're getting closer, and it's happening. And I want to thank you all for your amazing support. You guys are amazing on Patreon. I wasn't expecting to keep having supporters in Patreon. We are at 104 Patreons, almost $600 a month. I was expecting everyone after the first month to just cancel, drop it, and just shouting at us like, we're stupid, like all this kind of stuff. But you guys are there, and I'm gonna ship the t-shirts in next week, I guess. This is a preview of a t-shirt. If I have it, I think I have the t-shirt. Let me check my t-shirt. Do I have a t-shirt? Pictures. Yeah, this is a preview of a t-shirt, and with the little logo created by Tyson Tan, which is an amazing designer that created the Akira mascot. I'm gonna ship these t-shirts to whoever pledged on Patreon, and then you will be able to buy the t-shirts in the YouTube channel itself. Underneath videos, you will find these in the YouTube store, and all the profits coming from the t-shirts are gonna be reverting to Akira to support us, support other open source projects, and all these usual stuff. But yes, we're so grateful for your support and your engagement and your interest in Akira. Like, people are really excited about this. We are really excited about this. We can't wait to release this first version and allow you to play. And who knows what Akira is going to be the next year. So on to the questions. You guys have some questions. Let me scroll back into the chat. I guess Alberto did an amazing job as usual in answering all your questions. Like, I am not necessary here. What am I doing here? I'm useless. Alberto, you should be in charge. You should do everything because you're better than everyone. Okay, so it is an OpenBR, just drag and drop. Alberto shared the GitHub repository, the pull request to check the screencast and to check the updates. Mattia asked, is there a grid repeater like in Adobe XD to replicate blocks? There's not. For now, like for the first version, we're not gonna have all these kind of like advanced features, but absolutely we're gonna have it. Like, you have to have something like that. Another thing that we're gonna do after the first release, probably, we're gonna focus a lot on the pluggable APIs. So having an open API to allow everyone to write plugins. And the dream here is to make the API sort of like code agnostic, so you can write your API in Vala or in Python or in C or whatever you want to do it. So we need to find a proper interface in order to allow everyone to contribute to Akira without like being forced to actually code only in Vala. So that would be amazing. And all these extra features in like having a grid repeater or having grids or snapping options or having the ability to custom like import pictures from Unsplash or import pictures from a Google image search, all this type of stuff. We want them in Akira, but will most likely be part of pluggable plugins that you can release for free. Or if users want, we can create a marketplace so users can sell their own plugins and allow users to make money by selling plugins for Akira and extending Akira functionalities. So it's gonna be pretty amazing. Just to reiterate, Akira will be released everywhere. Will be released on the Elementary OS App Center. It's gonna be released as a Flatpak. Actually, Another thing that I forgot, if you want to test Akira, and Bilal did this implementation, it's fantastic. You can install it via Flatpak. Actually, not yet via Flatpak, but you can install via the GNOME Builder. And in the GNOME Builder, when you load the repository, you can specify if you want, what type of profile do you want. If you want the default profile, it's going to install Akira and you have what we have. Or you can install a development profile in order for you to change it however you want. The development profile is not going to affect the default profile. So you're going to have two separated Akira installation of your machine. And you can destroy the development profile as much as you want. You can crush the code, you can change the G settings, you can update the theme, the style sheet, whatever you want to do, without affecting the default. So you can keep having updates from us, from our main master branch, and you can keep having fun in crashing Akira on your development installation without interfering with each other. So you can have a lot of fun. Alberto said that he's a terrible designer. Alex and Bilal deserve all the credit of what you all say. Nah, no. Alberto develops Akira in GNOME Builder and Flatpak, so this is not wording. I use every day. Yes, he uses every day. He is the. I think also Bilal uses GNOME Builder. I'm the black sheep. I'm the one that uses VS Code and compiles everything manually because I'm an idiot. I want to use GNOME Builder, but whatever. Okay. Are there any other questions, guys? Yes, exactly. Oh, also another thing, like Alberto reminded me that the elementary, like you see Akira looks this way, and it's really elementary OS-C oriented. That's because we baked the elementary theme, the elementary style sheet inside the Flatpak installation. So even if you install it on KDE or on Fedora, on Ubuntu via Flatpak, you're gonna have these. It's gonna look decent. I know a lot of people are upset, but first of all, it's better for us because knowing that the interface, the UI, it's exactly what we're seeing, we don't need to have 20 different virtual machines to be sure that the UI matches the distribution or the desktop environment that everyone is using. It's easier for us to offer a more consistent experience. The fact that we are manually baking the elementary style sheet inside the Flatpak, it means that in the future, we will implement the ability to bake other style sheets inside the Flatpak. So we could have a built-in option to change the theme if you really want it. But we're not gonna implement every theme whatsoever. We're gonna just you send us the theme. If it looks good, it's maintainable and respects all the things that we're doing, we're gonna bake into it. But this opens up the ability to have custom themes. But yeah, we decided to let's not let the desktop environment adapt or apply the UI on top of Akira. Otherwise, everyone is going to have a different experience. We cannot control the icons. It's going to be a nightmare for us to debug. We're going to have a lot of bug reports of things that don't look good or don't look right. And it's going to be impossible for us to keep it and maintain it. So that's the reasons behind using a pre-built theme inside Akira. Guarav asks, what was the motivation for the Akira project? Oh, Guarav, you should listen to the millions of podcasts that I did before launching the project. You should also watch the failed Kickstarter campaign on Kickstarter about Akira. But yeah, as Alberto said, rapid prototyping and mockups. The higher purpose, the higher level of thinking about it behind Akira is that we want to offer a professional tool on the same level of Sketch or Adobe XD or Affinity Designer that are only available on Windows and macOS. On Linux, nothing right now, as of today, it's available that it's comparable to a professional UX design tool. You can do all these things, you can do them in Inkscape and in GIMP, absolutely. It's not a matter of can you do these in Inkscape or in GIMP. it's a matter of workflow. Like, how much time does it take you to create something in Inkscape, or how much time does it take you to create it in Figma or Adobe XD or Sketch? The workflow, it's so much better and so modern in those proprietary tools that are like, Linux is so far behind in the design world that it's insane. So we want to change that. We want to offer a professional grade level application for Linux designers. Yes, Linux has designers. Yeah. What were the reasons to choose Vala other than language to develop Akira? Oh, Guarav, use the students of the Google Summer of Code. You're mentoring. Oh, Alberto is mentoring. Oh, Guarav, I'm so jealous. I wish Alberto could mentor me. Can you mentor me, Alberto? I'm the worst. Okay, so why we choose Vala? We chose Vala because, first, it's built and developed and maintained by GNOME. Since we decided to use the GTK toolkit that it's built on top of GNOME, developed by the GNOME Foundation, Vala and GTK, they have out-of-the-box bindings that work perfectly. Like, we don't literally have to do anything to make it work. GTK also, we feel all more comfortable because all the developers, they always use GTK-based desktop environments, and Vala, as I said, works seamlessly in GTK. Vala also, it's compiles natively in C, so you speed out sort of like low-level programming language that it's so fast, but Vala has these beautiful programming interface that it's so eloquent, so easy to understand, that it removes all the verbosity of C or C#. It removes all those extra files, and it removes a lot of complexity, and it's really easy to learn. It's like the learning curve of Vala, if you have a little bit of even experience in PHP, is just like super flat. It's really easy to learn. And there are a lot of resources around there for Vala, thanks to the guys at Elementary OS and to the GNOME Foundation, thanks to what's happening with GitLab and GTK and all these new updates. Building a GTK application in Vala is just the easiest approach ever. It's just like out of the box works, no problem whatsoever. Then I'm interested in that as well. Seems like everybody's using Python for these kind of things these days. Yeah, no, they're using Python, but I personally don't really like Python. I try to code it. I'm not an expert. I'm not that great. And for many years, I tried to code. I've been a web developer for 15 years. I know perfectly PHP, JavaScript, like all the crazy advanced JavaScript like React, Vue.js, AngularJS, ES6 JavaScript, and I know PHP perfectly. I know database, HTML, of course. Who doesn't know HTML? But being a developer for 15 years on web development and then decide to go on software development, and I was trying to find a coding language, a programming language in order to build my own Linux applications. I couldn't understand C. I couldn't understand Python. I couldn't understand. It was like so out of my reach, so absurdly difficult, that when I stumbled upon Vala, I was like, oh, this is easy. I can actually understand this. So that's my perfect language. That's the language that I loved. And then I found this amazing community. I found Alberto and Bilal. I found the Elementary OS community. Everyone using Vala. It's just beautiful. It's just so easy. Like the entire Elementary OS desktop environment, Pantheon, it's built in Vala. So if you can build a distribution that runs visual with a graphical user interface built in Vala, why can you not have just one simple UX application built in Vala? It's just like, it's amazing. It's beautiful. Hi, just wanted to say thanks. I learned and learning so much with you. You're very welcome. This was really Italian. You're very welcome. Sorry, it's just my Italian inner self. Yes, Mattia says that Alberta is big. Yeah, Alberta is the biggest of us all. Is the king. Like without Alberto, Akira wouldn't exist, literally. So yeah, if you, I don't know, just give him a virtual high five and lots of love. We feel Vala, yeah, Alberto iterates also. Vala has a low entry level to code on GTK, and Elementary uses a main language. So yeah, Guarav says Vala is great, especially its object-oriented programming. Yes, it's so amazing. Hail Alberto. So Mattia is complaining that Alberto is not Italian, but no one is perfect. Well, yeah, it's okay, whatever. We don't care about nationalities. You can be also alien, you can be from Mars. If you help us build Akira, we will love you unconditionally, so it's fine, whatever. Okay, oh my god, I'm losing my voice. I need a glass of water. Okay, so it's pretty much it for this live streaming. We don't have, unfortunately, we still don't have a timeline for a first release, but as you can see, things are progressing. Up until a month ago, we didn't even have a barely workable interface. Now things are locking in together and things are falling into place and everything is starting to look... Oh, actually, something that I didn't show you. You can zoom the interface. Look at that. You can zoom and zoom out, and the object, there's no pixel, because this is something that I always hate about any software. You can see there's no pixel at all. You can zoom at 1000% and there's no pixel, and you can keep zooming. We're 500% in. So good. Because it's vector based, because everyone, oh, we're 700%, okay, let's go back to 100%, and it's perfect. It's just so snappy and so fast, and you can move your shapes around and everything moves so smoothly. It's just like, I love it. I love it so much. I'm so excited about this application. Okay, so Nishant asks, is Akira open source? Yes, everything is on GitHub. You can check the source code. You can download, compile it locally. You can duplicate the code and make your own version. Whatever you want to do, just keep it open source, because we are using GPL version 3. So if you change it, you need to keep it open source. That's the only thing. Alberto, Guarav wants Alberto to be on a live stream. Okay, the next live stream, the live development session 2, version 2 that we're going to do it once the canvas is complete. So we can definitely schedule Alberto to be live and give you an overview of all the things that he did on the canvas, because he will be much better in explaining all those things than me. JJ says, thanks for working on this. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. If I get some time, I'll try to help out a bit. Thank you so much. Even you can... Oh, there's another... I'm actually interested and would like to contribute back. Nishant says, I have zero experience with Vala. Okay, that's an amazing opportunity. Thank you, JJ Oliphant. Thank you, Nishant. You don't need to be a coder to contribute. It's... what we're looking like, sometimes you see this help wanted. Like we're working on a variation of the icon for the development version. So when you install it, 2 same versions in your system, you're not going to get an overlap. Now, you cannot see it here, but whatever. I have the development and live version, and they have the same icon, and it's confusing. So we can create something like this. You can contribute by sharing the project. You can contribute by helping in deciding features, because we're literally at the beginning of this project. We're deciding functionalities and chatting with people and saying, hey, maybe these things should do these other things, or would be great to have this. Just write in the issue reports, help us review, pull request, ask to, I don't know, whatever, create a new type of functionalities, or give us some visual examples, or help us, if you're a designer, help us design some small things. If you want to improve Akira, like, you don't need to know Vala to help us out. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's such a big project that spans and covers a lot of different fields that you don't need to be a developer or know Vala to help progress Akira. So just do whatever you want. Mattia is going to bed, so good night, Mattia. Thank you so much for being here. Ooh, more questions. I also did not knew, but kind of jumped in. I had experience with Java, and it just works. I'm well versed in programming, only never done Linux graphical user interface programming. Oh, you guys are developers, so you can learn Vala in a month or less, like I did. Like I never did software programming, like actual software engineering. I did just web development, and I learned Vala in a couple months, which is fantastic. Very much interested since I want Linux to have a good design tool. Yes, Nishant. Yes, Linux needs a good design tool. Sorry, and I'm just to reiterate, because people think that I hate GIMP or Inkscape or Krita. No, those tools are phenomenal. Those tools like GIMP, Inkscape, and Krita are amazing technical achievement, and it's just beautiful software. All the software on Linux should behave like the software, should be like the software. The problem is the target. Krita is for digital painters. GIMP is for photo retouching. Inkscape it's for mostly like generic vector graphic, like icons and vector images in general. The workflow and the interface of those software are not for user experience design, are not for web design, or even for mobile design. If you want to design a mobile interface or a web prototype, like those tools are not for that purpose. That's what's missing. I'm not just saying Akira will be better than GIMP. No, those are two completely different things. They can coexist. I want them to coexist. I want a future where when you're working on Akira and you have an image as your header banner and you want to retouch it and you need to change something because the picture is not, it's a photograph that it doesn't look good. I want a feature that you right click, open in GIMP, it opens in GIMP, you change it, save, automatically closes GIMP, and you go back on Akira and you have the updated picture. I want that type of, like these type of workflow. It already exists. It already exists on macOS and Windows. It doesn't exist on Linux. No one ever done that because everyone thinks that, oh, designers don't use Linux. Yes, we do. It's really painful to design on Linux, but we do, and we want to have, like, we want to do it. So, yes, Nishant, I love that you're on board with this. And Alberto is sharing amazing, helpful links to learn about GNOME Builder and learn about Vala, and it's just good. It's just so good. Yeah, just clone the Akira repository and just have fun with it. So it's been almost an hour of live streaming. I think we are at the end, at least my voice at the end. As usual, if you guys have questions, you can open an issue on the GitHub page on Akira UX. In the Akira UX repository, you also find other than Akira, you have the website, which we're working on. A couple of people are contributing to the website. We have the library of interactive Go Canvas. We have some assets. All the assets are open source and available under GPL. So we have the logo, the mascot, the templates, stickers, all whatever you want. If you wanna use it, you can support us on Patreon. Even $1, it's worth a lot for us. Or if you don't like proprietary thing and you want more open source, we're also on LiberaPay. We have the Akira UX on LiberaPay. You can support us there. And Guarav says, I think we will overtake those proprietary tools soon. I really hope that. So Nishant says, I would suggest that all these links be somewhere in there in the wiki. Yeah, that's a really good question. Is the Akira Assets wiki. The wiki of Akira, it's somewhat, there's something in there. Yes. Yes, let's update maybe in the home or introduction. Yeah. We can have or create a footer with all the links. Yeah, that's a really good suggestion. Thank you. The name of the mascot designer is Tyson Tan. Tyson Tan, you should follow this guy on Twitter. It's this guy here, TysonTan.com. He's also has an amazing website. He did the mascot for Krita. He did the mascot for Dashlane. Yeah, not Dashlane. What's the other? I don't remember. But he does these anthropomorphic characters, which I love. And yes, he was so kind of making Akira for us, like Akari. Like the mascot is named Akari. Akari, the Cyber Phoenix. So good. Oh, yes, there's a PR for hacking. Yes, I'm waiting for Uncrustify to update the things, but I think I'm going to merge it anyway. It's fine. So, yeah. Yeah, he's an otaku. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for participating. If you want to support us however you want. Just sharing on Twitter, Instagram, or share on, what's that? The Fediverse, like on Mastodon. You can share however you want. We're going to continue working on Akira and things will be beautiful in the future. So thank you so much. And happy coding if you code, or happy designing if you design. And Nishant, I really like the idea. Thank you for starting this for Linux. You're very welcome, Nishant. Thank you guys, everyone. Thank you, Alberto, for your amazing work. Thank you, Bilal, for participating. Thank you, Felipe, that he's not currently working with us because he has a lot of things going on, but it's a little bit of a secret, but whatever. Is gonna be back in the team soon enough, and we'll see how it goes. And thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic night, a rest of the day, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.